Good evening. Thank you. Welcome to a special meeting of the Wicomico County Board of Education. Today's meeting is being live streamed and videotaped. You can see it at wcboe.org. As we always do, we begin our meetings with the pledge to the flag. This evening will be led by a kindergarten student from Del Mar Elementary School, Aubrey Jewell. But it will be clear.
Move to approve.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 2.3. Moment of silence for several colleagues, former employees of the Board of Education that passed away. Tammy Lee Nicholson Mondes. She worked at Fruitland Primary School as a kindergarten teacher, graduated from Bennett in 1987. Phyllis Lee Johns, prior to retiring from Wicomico County Public Schools, she was a school teacher for 39 years. Sarah J. Griffin was employed in our mentoring program for Wicomico County Board of Ed until her retirement. Renzillo Foxwell began his career with WCPS in 1961 as principal at Salisbury Elementary. He retired in 1984. He had 23 years of service with us. Please, in your own way, honor those fallen colleagues with a moment of silence. Thank you. 2.4, presentation of a tribute to the Wicomico Senior High School class of 1955. They were the first class to graduate from the current location, which is where we are right now, the present location of Wicomico Senior High. A member of that class is a colleague on the school board. I'd like to turn it over to Mrs. Ann Sadowski.
Thank you, Mr. Millay. June the 3rd, 1955. 181 young people stood in the auditorium and received their high school diplomas. We were the first class to graduate from what is now Wicomico Senior High School. Jim Kinney, a retired associate judge of the Maryland Court of Special Appeals, was our class orator. And in his address, he said, quote, we are deeply and seriously conscious of all that has been done for us, of the tools of learning that have been placed in our hands, of the associations that have been permitted us, and of all the privileges that have been ours. Our class song was You'll Never Walk Alone. Mr. Bob Sterling, a BOE member, gave us our diplomas, and he said, quote, there will be storms, but walk on. Walk on with dreams in your hearts, and we have. Tonight is the climax to be of these dreams and aspirations 181 young people had 66 years ago. At our 45th class reunion, Joe Hardiman suggested that in appreciation of what we received from Y High, that we establish a scholarship. On our 50th reunion in 2005, we formally established the Class of 55 scholarship. The proclamation, which will be read, will give the details of what we have accomplished. And I want to thank my fellow BOE members and Dr. Hanlon for the privilege of this special evening. Thank you.
So it is my pleasure to read this tribute. And it is titled, A Tribute to Wicomico Senior High School Class of 1955. Whereas the Wicomico Senior High School Class of 1955 was the first class to graduate from the present-day location of Wicomico High School. And whereas the class of 1955, at its 45th year class reunion in 2000, set a goal of collecting $50,000 to establish a class of 1955 scholarship fund for Wicomico High School seniors by the time of the 50-year reunion in 2005. And whereas at its 50-year class reunion in 2005, the class of 1955 established a scholarship fund to award 2 scholarships each year to graduating seniors of Wicomico High to encourage students to continue the outstanding legacy that members of the class of 1955 have honored and treasured since they were seniors. And whereas, since the scholarships were first given in 2005, the class of 1955 has awarded 31 scholarships for a total of $55,000. And whereas the members of the class of 1955 have fond memories of their days at Wicomico Senior High School and have the desire to perpetuate the standards of education that they received when they were students due to the dedication of the faculty and staff and the high expectations that they set to engage and challenge students. And whereas on Saturday, October 16, 2021, the class of 1955 will celebrate its 66th year class reunion. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wicomico County Board of Education acknowledges and appreciates the generous financial support that the Wicomico Senior High School class of 1955 has provided to graduating seniors of Wycomico High School since 2005, and be it further resolved that a copy of this tribute be presented to the class of 1955, and a copy be spread upon the minutes of the Board of Education of Wicomico County this 14th day of September 2021, signed by all of the members of the Wicomico County Board of Education and Superintendent. So, with us this evening, in addition to Mrs. Safowski, representing the class of 1955, are Jane Rayner Massey and Barbara Testa Webster. If you would come down, please. We would like to recognize you.
Mrs. Safowski. Mrs.
Are they
Safowski.
supposed to come this way?
Yeah.
Oh, you want us to
Oh,
go
you
back
want us
up?
back over there? Sorry.
Okay. I'm getting confused. You guys want to hold this since it's yours?
Yeah, you two hold it. Yeah, you two hold it. I can draw a picture. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're gonna do with it.
You take it home. Take it away. And then we give it to Mr. Green. Okay, after. It's all yours.
It's all yours.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, 2.5, student representatives to the board reports. Seated at the board table this evening from James Bennett High School, Shannon Field. Shannon, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Superintendent Dr. Hamlin, board members. My name is Shannon Kim, and I'm currently the executive board president of JMP Student Government Association. I'm excited to be here to report our events at JMP and how we are preparing for this year. Prior to the opening of school, we had a successful open house where students and their families were able to come into school, talk to teachers, and get a feel of the JMP is so excited about our sports teams. Go ahead. We are excited that students are able to have a audience and are excited to watch and participate in our fall winter sports. Sports are part of JMP culture, and our student athletes are related. We have our first SG meeting on September 14th and to develop a cover review for the upcoming year and finalize plans on our homecoming. Our homecoming will be held this Saturday, September 25th, on the shipyard from 8 to 10 p.m. Our theme, Out of This World, actually matches the location because it would be under the stars. The homecoming committee and I have worked hard about several new and interesting decorations, such as lasers, planets, aliens, stars, and more. We plan to decorate the shipyard to our best ability. This week, starting today, our school began our homecoming this year week. Today we started strong with Maryland Monday. Tomorrow will be Twin Tuesday, then World Wednesday, Metro Space Week, Sports Team Thursday, and Friday will end with class tours. We're excited for this upcoming school year and hope to fill it with exciting activities and events for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Representing Mardell High School, Zoe Pasqua and Catherine Beecham.
Good evening, members of the board. I am Catherine Beecham, the Vice President of SGA, and this is Zoe Pasqua, our SGA President. Being Mardell has enrolled 100 new students this school year. Despite this challenge, faculty is successful in following included guidelines by making smaller class sizes and ensuring that students are physically distancing. As far as the mask mandate, students have been compliant with it.
As a result of increasing enrollment, one of our initiatives this year is increasing student involvement as well. For instance, SGA will implement community-specific advertising, fundraising, and alumni. Our homecoming will be held on October 23rd this year. We are concerned that there may not be enough interest due to COVID regulations and student involvement. However, we are planning physically distance alternatives for students who don't wish to attend. Thank you for this opportunity for us to share our school's development so far this year.
Thank you. Representing Parkside High School, Cassidy Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cassidy Jackson, and I am Parkside High School Student Representative. At Parkside, we have a very easy return to being back in person and in the building. Almost everything goes back to normal. Masks are being worn correctly for the most part, but when they are not, teachers are doing a very good job of enforcing it. Social distancing is difficult to practice while in the halls, but it is much easier to do when the classroom is being done. Freshman year this today, with a huge success with help from our many ambassadors and student leaders. Sophomore campus today was held a week before school in order to have a transition day for those students who lost their due to COVID last year. And back to school night have high attendance with many students and their families coming out. Our athletes are ready for a full season with playoffs and able to play without masks and have a full stand of fans. Our band successfully completed their summer practices and their friends and family concert with a huge success. They are looking forward to playing their first football game, which was actually last Friday, but did get canceled, so I guess 2 weeks ago. And thank you so much for listening to what I have to share, and I look forward to next month.
Thank you. Representing Wicomico High School, Ava Batista.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ava Bautista, and I'm a freshman in Wycombe.
beginning in July. To help with your scores and grades on the test, 8 total sessions were held on Wednesdays from 9 to 12, available to classes of 22 to 23. The college boot camp was held over the course of the week to assist in completing Common App, the essay, and help in picking college's best suited for each student. While high students also attended college boot camps held at Salisbury University and Goucher College. In addition to teachers and advisors helping students on the path to college, recent graduates Jeff Confiture and Paul Yang were featured on Delmarva Life to talk about the college application help program they participated in, the Delmarva Mentor Program, started by Wildland Alum of 2019, Dan Nelson. Junior Jonathan Hayes and our principal, Mr. Green, were featured on the Hometown Hero Show on Fox 14. They spoke about Jen's participation in the Maryland Youth Congress and COVID's effects on the school year and seniors. Despite the challenges COVID presented to these recent graduates, Sanai Brown, Gavin Virginia, and Natalie Cole all received Rotary Cup scholarships. Sanai receiving $2,500 and Gavin and Natalie receiving $1,000. Another recent graduate, Luke Ellis, to represent Mount High in the 2021 Superintendent's Art Collection at the Board of Education. Another representation of Mount High in the entire county, our JWAC team attended the JROTC Leadership and Academic Bowl in July, where they performed well and experienced a lot of teaching as they look forward to participating in next year's events. The JROTC Honor Guard also laid loose at the Wicomico High School flagpole on September 10th and at the Wicomico War Memorial on September 11th to honor the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Representatives on the field is their sport team. The boys soccer team went against Law and Harvey Margello and Colonel Richardson and scrimmages and beat Washington and Crestfield and are currently playing hardwood at Big Speed. Our volleyball team has been on the rise to performance in 5 sets played in Senate, previous days as champions, and a Coca win. The JV football team visited Colonel Richardson, and just last Saturday, the varsity football team visited Easton, kicking off their so far undefeated season with wins. We held our very first SGA meeting on September 9th, where we decided to hold class election voting during lunch periods on the 21st and 23rd. We also decided on the theme of a movie premiere for this year's homecoming, which will be preceded by a movie-themed Spirit Week, featuring days such as New Girls Wednesday, where students will wear pink, and Friday Night Lights, where students will wear blue gold. We have started the year successfully and eagerly with high spirits and expectations from our already productive summer. We look forward to a great year of junior achievement. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all the student reps. We appreciate you keeping us informed of what's going on in our area high schools, and we look forward to hearing more from you in the coming months. Thank you for being here. 2.6, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Hanson.
Good evening, board members and members of the community who have joined us this evening. Just make a few comments about our opening. It was an extremely smooth opening. Between the 3 assistant superintendents and I, we had an opportunity to visit all of our schools over the course of the first couple of days of school, and behind masks, we could tell that there were many, many, many smiles on faces. Everyone, teachers, students, seemed to be very excited to be back. We are seeing, although it won't be official until September 30th, it does appear that we have bounced back as predicted in terms of enrollment, especially looking at our pre-kindergarten and our kindergarten numbers. Those numbers are up, but again, those numbers won't be official until after September the 30th. We do have about 300 students. In fact, I think the actual count was 300 in our virtual program. Our elementary program, grades 1 through 5, is being taught by our teachers, 1 teacher per grade level, and secondary students who enrolled in our virtual program are being handled through the ESMEC Consortium APEX program. Again, that program seems to be going very smoothly. Asking for the community's patience with transportation, more parents this year are choosing to transport their students back and forth to school, perhaps to help with overcrowding and social distancing on buses. But hopefully, as we get further into the school year, that will settle a bit in terms of those long drop-off lines and pick-up lines as we look for solutions and parents determine good times to arrive at school. So while our school system announced a masking requirement at the August board meeting, the state board, as you know, took any remaining decision where that was concerned out of our hands with the regulation requiring masks by students and staff in all schools and school facilities, and that was supported by the legislature on the 14th of September, effective for 180 calendar days or until the state board determines otherwise. So I do agree that it is the best way to keep our students and our staff as safe as possible, and most importantly, to keep our schools open. We have had positive cases, but relatively, compared to what it could be, fewer quarantines. As of this morning, across the school system, all of our schools, we've had 174 positive cases since the start of the school year, and that does include a couple of sports teams where there were outbreaks. But because we're masking, meaning that there are far fewer students who are considered close contact, far fewer students and staff are having to quarantine than if we weren't masked. I do want to commend our nursing staff who are doing an incredible job with contact tracing, communicating with parents, testing students for COVID with parent permission when symptomatic. Title Health, as many know, had been doing some vaccination clinics in our schools. That was last spring and during summer school. Those clinics are not currently going on, but I do want to assure parents that we are not vaccinating students. And when Title Health does so, it's only when parents are present. So, while we were very hopeful last spring and during the early months of summer that COVID was behind us, I believe we all know we're not quite there. But I do sincerely appreciate the cooperation of students and staff and parents. We will be posting on our website within the next few days, I believe Mrs. Miles is nodding at me, within the next few days, the positive cases by school. So you'll be able to look at your school or your child's school and see the number of positive cases in each school. One other bit of really great news, just before school started, we got great news that our Teacher of the Year is a finalist, one of 8 finalists for Maryland Teacher of the Year. So we really look forward to Dustin Thomas and his being a finalist and going to be recognized by the state board in October, I believe. So we look forward to, and hopefully we will have a Maryland winner. So. One more piece of my report is our grants report. Dr. Briggs.
Good evening. I'm pleased to be able to share some information from our August grants report. This past month, we received funding from 2 grants totaling over $100,000. One was from the NEA Foundation to strengthen our English language support center, and the other to assist us with providing wellness activities for employees to promote a healthy lifestyle. Additionally, in August, we submitted applications for another 7 grants, and I look forward to updating everyone on their status at an upcoming board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Briggs. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Hanley. Okay, 3.1, approval of open session minutes from our previous meeting on August the 10th. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right, carried. Okay, 4.1 through 4.5 are consent items. So, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, is there a motion to approve the consent items?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Motion to second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Right, 5.1. Is there a motion to approve that fiscal year 2023 to 2028 capital improvement plan and budget for submission to the county executive and the state?
Move to approve.
For a second? Okay, for either Lisa or Kayla. Lisa?
Data is gathered, analyzed, and then used to make data-driven decisions about the needs of our facilities. Key components of the Educational Facilities Master Plan include special initiatives, projected enrollments or capacity, facility needs indexes, facility needs, and capital expenditures. All facilities data is compiled on these two spreadsheets see on this slide, weighting the critical facility data in order to better prioritize capital spending. The facilities need index for major capital improvement is comprised of three weighted categories: FQI, utilization, and FTE. FQI is weighted as the highest, as it combines both the FCI and the FPI. These are all crazy acronyms, but FQI is the facility's quality index, FTE is full-time equivalent, and FCI is the facility conditions index, and then PI is our program index. Utilization and FTE are added to the weighted chart in order to make sure that the schools with the higher number of students affected by overcrowding are weighted higher or worse. The facility need index for systemic is comprised of two weighted categories, FCI and utilization. FCI is weighted the highest as it measures the key systemic components of each school. As with the other index, utilization is used as a means to make sure projects are directed towards schools where the highest number of students can be impacted. You will see the major capital improvement list in green on the left correlates directly with the systemic list with many of the same projects identified as top priorities. Now we review part 2 of our capital improvement program, the capital improvement plan. We will review FY 2022 approvals, FY 2023 project priorities, and recap projects accomplished last year. FY 2022 approval included number 1 priority, Beaver Run replacement, number 2 priority, Mardella renovation and addition, and number 3 priority, West Side Intermediate roof replacement. FY 2023 number 1 priority is Mardella Middle School and High School, seeking county and state construction funding. After review and discussion with the School Building Commission and senior leadership, it is proposed to pursue the use of Built to Learn, or BTL, funds towards this project. With the proposed BTL funds, the county may no longer need to forward fund to maintain project schedule. Built to Learn funds are being authorized on a rolling basis based on cash flow needs. The state is implementing new eligibility requirements which need further clarification from the IAC with the state, causing funding amounts to shift. Wicomico is currently anticipated to receive $18.3 million in Built to Learn, or BTL funding, but amounts are still subject to change. To provide an update on the status of Built to Learn, or BTL funds, a program MOU, or Memorandum of Understanding, has been approved by both the Maryland Stadium Authority, MSA, and the Interagency Commission on School Construction, the IOC. It was provided to local county government for review. It is understood that a project MOU is being drafted by the Maryland Stadium Authority and will be provided as templates to LEAs based on project management. An MSA managed project versus an LEA managed project. MSA roles and responsibilities are not fully known yet. As previously indicated, funds are being allocated on a rolling basis to align with project cash flow needs. Additional FY 2023 project priorities include number 2 and number 3 roof replacements at Wicomico and Parkside High School, as well as number 4 planning for the next major capital projects, Fruitland Primary. It is anticipated that elementary and secondary school emergency relief funds, or ESSER funds, may be available for FY 2023 project priorities number 5 through 8. Eligibility established by the Maryland State Department of Education, MSDE, at reducing the risk of virus transmission. Repair, replacement, upgrade projects to improve the indoor air quality include mechanical and non-mechanical heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. Window and door repair replacements are also eligible. With these available funds, ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 projects are outlined on this slide. It's worth noting, ESSER 2 Salisbury Middle School Gym HVAC project was completed this past summer. ESSER 3 projects are still pending MSDP approval, but make up FY 2023 project priorities 5 through 8, as indicated on this slide. A recap of last year's projects completed from the FY 2022 Capital Improvement Plan with various other funding sources can be seen here. Thank you for your time in the review and approval of the FY 2023 Capital Improvement Plan. It is anticipated this document will be submitted to the acting county executive following this meeting to meet the October 8th requested deadline and submitted to the state October 4th. I stand for questions.
Thank you.
Just, Steve, I have just one small question. So, can any of these funds, like for the ESSER funds or was it approved American funds, can any of these be used to forward fund any of our upcoming projects like Monroe?
Are you asking if ESSER funds can be used to forward fund our project?
Well, it's for the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. And I would that's because of the COVID problem going through right now. So, can any of these funds be used to pay forward for that equipment we're going to be going into Martell instead of coming out of our state funds or local funds?
We apply for a small amount of ESSER funds associated with HVAC equipment in the main mechanical room, at Martell. What we have to be careful of is that ESSER fund deadlines are very short. There's not a lot of time to execute those projects. So we can't utilize a lot of it. We apply for a little bit of it in order to be able to assist some equipment purchases earlier on.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Caleb or Lisa?
I have just one question. The SO2 project for Salisbury Middle School, the gym and HVAC project, that was done ahead of schedule, correct?
It was done on schedule. We worked really hard. It was an on-the-shelf project we've been trying to fund for a really long time. So DGS worked cooperatively with us to get our approvals out quickly. And we got lucky and equipment came in on time, so it was kind of struggle-related for a lot of the projects.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, now that you're ready to vote on the motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 5.2, for the superintendent's recommendation, is there a motion to accept the proposal on the attached Exhibit 1 from Complete Commissioning Inc. for services related to building commissioning for the Modella Middle and High School renovation and addition project, and to issue a notice to proceed to begin design phase services. Any motion?
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion to second.
Okay, Hazel.
Good evening, Dr. Cameron, Chairman, and Vice Chairman, and board members. For board policy, a two-step selection process is utilized to select the commissioning authority or the CFA for the renovations and additions to Marbella. This will be a multi-phase occupied renovation and addition project, and today's approval of the finalized CFA proposal will allow us to initiate the associated services during design to align with the upcoming design development phase of the above project. Are there any questions regarding this recommendation?
Any questions? Okay, none. I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
5.3, is there the adoption of the state board masking regulations as required by the state board and the Wicomico Board of Education policy effective immediately. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Motion to second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to know, can we have a roll call vote for this?
I'm sorry.
Can we have a roll call vote on this?
That's fine, that's appropriate. Any discussion? Okay, I assume you're ready to vote. Mr. Palmer?
No.
Mr. Fitzgerald? Aye. Mr. Murray? Aye. Mrs. Bowski?
Yes, this is state law.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Not a state law.
Mrs. Lewis?
Mandate's not a law.
Mrs. Lewis?
Look it up.
No.
Chair votes aye.
District 2.
So the total is 5-2 in favor. Motion passes. 5.4 is information only. 6.1 is public comments. So the public comment section of the agenda is an opportunity for the superintendent and board to listen to individual comments on topics concerning Wycomico County Public Schools. The board chairman has the right to limit public comments in length for those concerning personnel or student matters which clearly identify an individual or individuals, deals with legal matters that are before the board. Negotiation topics are more appropriately addressed in closed session or privately with staff. So you'll have an opportunity to speak in 3 minutes allotments. Derogatory remarks, personal attacks, obscene gestures, disruptive behavior, shouting, stomping of the feet will not be permitted. We have 25
First Amendment.
individuals that want to speak tonight. So at 30 seconds, I'll be saying to the speaker, you have 30 seconds. And then at 3 minutes, I'm going to ask all time and ask you to stop. In deference to 24 other people who want to speak and the fact that we're going to be waiting for near the end for quite some time, which is fine by us, but we need to keep it to 3 minutes. So, the first speaker is Barry Beecham. The issue is mask mandate.
First thing I'd like to say is thank you guys for your service because I've looked at your compensation and it's obvious if you do this because you care about children. That's why we're here. That's why it's obvious how you feel about the mask mandate because you just don't have to vote. But what I would like to say is that it's rare for the children to they can catch the virus. It's very rare for them to have severe consequences. I would not want my child to have to wear a mask all day in school. Again, I don't have children in school. I'm here just because I care about all the children that are in school. So you have to understand that. To me, you can solve the issue by making the mask optional. Now, we all would have, a different feeling about this if you could if that was your choice. In the words of John Stuart Mill, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. I think that what we all are here for is the same reason, to be good men and women, and to try to have some effect and have some change. Now, what I have here is a picture, and I don't know, can you post this picture so that it can be seen? It's a picture of our governor from yesterday at a football game, and there's not a mask in sight. We're talking about 80,000. It's a picture of our governor from yesterday at a football game, and there's not a mask in sight. We're talking about 80,000 people 80,000 people in the stadium to watch a football game and not require masks, how is it that you can make children sit in school all day and have to wear a mask?
Call them out.
The topic is school issues.
I couldn't hear the name. I can't hear the name of the person who is speaking because of the applause. Can you repeat your name, please?
I'm here tonight, and I wanted to address you, and the first comment I want to make is, all of you who don't have to touch the microphones, get a stand. We don't have a stand. Are you trying to infect us? That's my first point. Second point is, the decisions of the local board involving the local policies or controversies and dispute regarding the rules and regulations of the state local board shall be considered prima facie correct, and the state board may not substitute its judgment for that of the local board unless the decision is arbitrary, unreasonable, or illegal. Comar 13A 010506A. You guys have allowed the Trojan horse to enter our county. You have relinquished your power to the state. They had no right to take it. Your attorney over here will tell you their actions were illegal, and it still is. And just because you voted on it, and just because the state did it, does not make it legal. You know that it is illegal. And they will tell you, every attorney I've consulted with, both state, federal, constitutionally, all say it's illegal. And so your adopting of it does not make it official, and it does not make it go away. If you think you can hide behind what the state did to fail you at that whole showdown and not voting on it, and what you did here today you cannot hide behind that. And I'm going to tell you, you are naked before the people of this county. Not for yourself. And I'm going to tell you, pro-mask and mask choice. I am for mask choice. We need to have choice. We see the hypocrisy throughout the school system. We've seen your pictures, and you're walking to school, and you're sugarcoating of, oh, how great it is. We've seen the mask off of the kids. We've seen it all. And the hypocrisy is exposed. And so I'm going to ask you to do the right thing. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to handle the state. We're going to remove your excuse from you. And we're going out to the state. And we're going to take care of it at the local level too.
And we're not.
We have thousands of parents and petitions signed, and we are ready for action. Parents will open up their wallet. We want good education, and the fact that you weaponize the school system, the educational system against the parents is appalling. And we expect better. And if you don't change course, we will change it for you.
Let me make one announcement. This microphone here is a media microphone. It's not one you use to speak. There's a microphone here with a light on it, so all you do is speak to that. Don't pick up this microphone. That's a media microphone.
Media. First off, allow me to first thank you, Mr. Palmer, for calling the roll call vote. Board member, thank you. I do have a child here in the Wycombe County school system, and I'm here to express my concern with what's going on in our local school system. First off, allow me to say that parenting, it is a little bit hard. You know, a manual comes with the car you buy, a manual comes with the computer that you buy, but a child isn't born with a manual. So the way we learn is by our mistakes and by our successes. Some of the hardest lessons learned are those that we learn by mistake. You know, the children here in Wicomico County have suffered greatly, and for that I blame you.
Yes.
Here's what I've learned over the last 18 months, that public schools suffered a lot more than private schools, but it's not fair to judge public versus private. So let me give you a fair comparison, public versus public. Carroll County Schools had a real board, a real superintendent with a real backbone. They stayed open for the majority of last year. Their children didn't fall far behind. How did they do it? Well, they put in HVAC systems, they put in metal filters in their HVAC systems, and they put in air purifiers in each room. Carroll County had the lowest positive rate in Maryland. Let that sink in. They also went mask choice. Did we learn anything here? I asked myself daily, why didn't we do that? Again, I guess that's a mistake, but that's one of the ones we have to learn from. And if you want to go size comparison, Carroll County is actually 62% larger than Wicomico, so don't use the population on the side of the school. I am almost, I'm not trying to say your job is easy, but I'm also not trying to say it's hard. I'm just saying your job is to listen to all the people that are probably going to get up and speak tonight. Some are going to be for the masks, the majority are against. I'm just going to skip to the end. You said no time, right? So let me ask you guys this. If you guys were all business managers, okay, and you had employees complaining about it, or not, sir. Thank you for only saying it once. If you were all business managers and you had employees complaining about another employee, then you had customers complaining about that employee as well, what would you do? Well, I feel most of you being in the education facility probably want to do a coaching session first before you fire them. But if that didn't work, you would fire them, right? So here's your scenario now. And I know I'm about to go over, I'm sorry, I'm going to be 3 or 4 seconds. We the citizens are your managers. The teachers are your co-workers. The students are your customers. Here's your coaching session. What happens next is on you.
The issue is Facebook.
All right, I'm back. First, I'm going to start with a thank you. Mrs. Lois, thank you. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. On August 11th, I sent each and every board member an individual email. Mrs. Lewis responded. I had one member say, call me. I responded. But I have a phone number, I can't find one. No response. Mrs. Lewis, I felt like you listened and you heard, you cared. I appreciate that. Thank you. One of my questions in that email I sent was, when it comes to the medical safety of my 3 children that I have in their schools, 3 small children, who should I listen to? My pediatrician or Dr. Hamel? Because my pediatrician knows my children, knows the surgeries some of them been through, and says these masks are useless. Only one of the schools, by the way, I got kids in 2 schools. East Salisbury sent on the letter last week that said I was had to initial saying Wicomico County Public Schools is not liable for any medical decisions made, but Wicomico County Public Schools are making medical decisions forcing my child in math. Now, other point, I said I was going to come up with baseball. Governor Hogan ended up paying Alford Sullivan $65,000. Now, I don't know about you, but I passed $65,000 to the rent because he deleted comments on his public Facebook page because he's a government entity. Is Wicomico County Public Schools doing this? Yes, repeatedly. This past, maybe it's been a couple weeks now, because we've had a lot of back-to-school pictures, beautiful back-to-school pictures with teachers and students and board members. And It is illegal.
30 seconds.
It is illegal to continue to delete these posts. And the fact that you're putting them out there as public publicity, saying, look how great we are. We're not even following our own math standards. And you wonder why people are upset.
Jamie Rice, ARP plan.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Jamie Rice. I'm a parent, citizen, taxpayer who will hold up the accountability mirror. Remind you that you work for us, and each one of you are 100% accountable for your community and your actions and your deeds. There is a movement afoot in the United States, and we the people are doing our due diligence to discover and unearth the ridiculous protocols that the board has chosen to comply with under the disguise of funding in regards to the American Rescue Plan. We are chewing our way up the food chain, and the lawsuits are sweeping fast and furious across the nation. We are seeking personal accountability from every board in the United States for the depths to which your self-service in pursuit of funding actions and inactions have caused. We are expecting to go all the way to the Supreme Court. From a carrot and stick standpoint, your acceptance of funding at the expense of your children, the school board has fallen hook, line, and sinker into the money trap. As a scapegoat responsible for these decisions. What you currently fail to see is many higher-up whistleblowers that work within the school system have already stepped forward to expose the wrongdoings. You are way too close to this situation to see the school system's infrastructure is rotting from the inside out and heading for a collapse. The system has turned on itself, and the boards will undoubtedly go down in history as the willing accomplices in aiding in this process. Let's be clear, and we'll stop holding the accountability back. Many parents throughout the country are preparing behind the scenes and are fully prepared for another attack/shutdown under the disguise of staffing shortages. We also have full awareness of the blueprint for Maryland that does not serve the highest good for our children. We understand and accept this is a blessing and realize the necessity as we move forward with new systems and technologies in preparation for building a better future for our children.
That's right.
Moving forward, it will clearly have your choices. Step aside, go down the ship, or roll up your sleeves and become part of the solution and the rebuilding process. I think we can all agree anyone with a pure heart and good intentions can clearly see that nothing adds up. Even a blind man knows when the sun is shining. It is my hope you will find your conscience and join in the movement as many of your peers have already done. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sam Stephen, vaccine/vaccination.
Great approach. Very good.
Hello, board members. I know that I'm here as a parent and as a teacher, and I know that this may put a target on my back, and that I'm fully willing to do that. I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is, because my children, my 9-year-old son and my 11-year-old daughter, need to see that we need to stand up for ourselves. We need to stand up for our own health. We don't need somebody else telling us that we need to do it. If we make a decision with our doctor, I believe that should be our choice. Not some board of ed, not the state board of ed either. And hiding behind that, I believe, is showing our children the wrong example. Showing them that we are sheep and that we're moving along just to move along. And while I stand here, nervous as heck, I tell you what, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is and tell you that I think this is wrong. I think that it's wrong with the masking, and I think it's going to continue on with the vaccinations. And I do not want my child to be forced to be vaccinated in one way, shape, or form or another. I believe that the health of my child is my business, between my wife and I, and my child, and my doctor. Beyond that, I'm a teacher because I want to teach children how to think, not what to think. I don't have a long-prepared speech. I spoke from the heart, and I finished now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mass option.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a first responder. I've been working in this pandemic since it began, 18 months longer. When I was 16 years old, my grandfather told me on the farm, son, you do three things in your life. You lead, follow, or get out of the way. For everyone here, your position is to lead. Some of you have chosen to follow. I would say or suggest it's time for you to get out of the way. You've all seen football games, college, professional. Everybody's maskless. The adults are finished playing, and the government knows it. That's why they've chosen to go after our kids now. I have 3 children in this school system. Every day they come home, they complain about the masks, they complain about some of the teachers' requirements. My 8-year-old son, he has one teacher, they won't even let him take the mask off outside. This is ridiculous. It's a farce. I'm going to give every one of you in this room right now a set of facts that can't be disputed. These are facts. It's a study from UCLA, Stanford, and our own CDC. If you're between the age of 0 and 19, you have a 99.97% chance of surviving COVID. 95% of people that die with COVID, not from COVID, with COVID had at least 4 comorbidity illnesses. If you're between the ages of 50 and 64, you have a 1 in 19.1 million chance of dying from COVID if you do not have any comorbidity illnesses. The average age that died with COVID was 82 years old. Only 3% of people that tested positive from PCR testing with COVID actually had COVID. Your school system and government want you to follow the science, but they also say a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man. Martin Luther King said it best himself. We have a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws.
The fetus are be ready, mass auction.
Thank you. Thank you.
speak. My point that I'm making today is that if my child can go to Walmart, Target, Marshalls, Old Navy, Sam's Club, without a mask, pick up objects in the store, hug a friend, look for clothing, try to home with no mask on, you get my point. Then why can't you go to your school system without a mask? Most of my child's time is spent in school, where she has to keep her face covered and the teachers keep their faces covered. It's interfering with her emotional development and social skills. It's necessary. Instead, she has to keep her mind on if it's formed properly, instead of being able to concentrate on a subject at hand. If my child keeps wearing a mask, she will get sick because her carbon dioxide is not able to escape. My child has to run laps around the gym and play soccer inside with a mask on, and she says she's having a hard time breathing, but is not allowed to pull her mask down to get some oxygen. But the PE teacher can take their mask down and talk to the kids. So where is the logic? Also, I will include another point. When my child gets on the school bus, she has to wear a mask, but as soon as she sits in her seat, she can take it off. What? Are you making this up as you go along? Is there a manual you can hand us so we can figure out what the rules are exactly and why? And who made them and the science behind them? They can't use the water fountains, pass pencils, paper, can't touch the poles or slopes that go up and down the stairs, other kids' desks, chairs, but you can play on the playground, swing on the swings, use monkey bars, use basketballs, sit on a bench together, and I ask you, who is making these rules and regulations? What are they determined? How to apply these rules they are imposing? Because it makes no sense to me or any of the parents coming in here today to speak. What is the difference if my child touches a basketball that has other kids handling it than passing a paintbrush and art to others? Or one kid will copy and let me tell you, I was looking through this, and it says that right in here, the following individuals are exempt from requirement to wear a face cover. And on 8, you have on here any person who is actively engaged in exercise. Please allow my child to remove her mask if she is exercising and PE. Thank you.
Gary Rennie, Mass.
Let me start off by asking, why did you personally do the Pledge of Allegiance? Why did you personally say one nation under God? Because let me tell you that by complying to these mask mandates, you are choosing not to trust in God. You're choosing to comply. I have chosen to trust in Him and the decisions He's made for me. When you wear these masks, you've already given in the fear of trusting instead of trusting the Almighty Himself. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. Proverbs 35 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. My whole point of this is simply this. If we are to be trusting in God and stop giving in the fear, trust in God and remove the mask for our children.
Lisa Moss, issue NA.
I don't live there, 'cause I can't come in. Can't come in. I don't live there. 'Cause I can't come in. 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 I
Okay.
I just wanted to put it in case so I was open to say something.
That's
I
fine.
can say it.
Thank you. Dave, go, as you know, our regulation.
Yeah. Why can't we bring her a microphone? She said she can't make it down the steps. We bring her.
She won't speak.
Ma'am, would you like to speak regardless?
Sorry, what?
You want to speak? Bring her a microphone.
That's totally up to y'all, but I don't want to, just go ahead with it.
No, it's their job to bring you that microphone. You're on the Americans with Disabilities Act. You have to be government in action.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for allowing us all to come and do our part as citizens and Americans. And I appreciate you allowing me to speak, and I appreciate the job that you're trying to do. I know it must be very difficult. But I'm an employee for Wicomico County Board of Ed, and I've been in the school for 4 days because I had surgery. So anyway, I think this mask stuff is crazy because I'm seeing it from the elementary to the high school. Today I sat and counted all the kids in this class that have their masks under their nose or under their chin. It was at least 8 out of the 16. Now, does that mean the teachers weren't doing their jobs? No. When they weren't working on the computer, they'd go, y'all need to wear your mask. Same thing. Last week, one of the third graders threw their mask off and almost started crying because the top of her lip was getting raw. And I'm like, I'm sorry, honey, you know. And then later that day, she was out on the playground, came in, had a huge bloody nose. And I just am saying that these masks do cause issues. Maybe not for everybody, and they might protect somebody. But are we going to live like this just to say we don't get COVID? I know plenty who have gotten COVID, and I know people who have died. But I can tell you this, that, and you know, the statistics show that children are less likely to get it and less likely to die from it. We had more kids die from the flu, but we don't see it. I'm not saying that you don't care about the kids, but am I saying that we don't care about the kids? No, we care about the kids and their mental health. I have seen such atrocious things in the last few years that these kids aren't learning. They're not getting to see. And if whoever said they can see those smiles behind the mask, that's great. Because I can't. I just think the kids need to see the smiles. They need to see the love. They need to see the happiness. And they need to be able to breathe. I know I have a doctor's note because I get such claustrophobia and anxiety attacks. And let me tell you, I think these kids are, and they're not learning what they need to learn. They're too busy having to put your mask out, put your mask out. Anyway, thank you for letting me speak.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Cook. I'm a year-old lifelong resident of Wycombe County, 54 years. Went to Commonwealth County schools from grades 1 to 12. First thing I'd like to do is thank the Wycombe County Sheriff's Department for being here to protect see people here. I wish I had the opportunity to go first. Who are we? Are we citizens? Are we mothers, fathers, grandmothers, women, children, men? Are we concerned citizens, or are we angry protesters? I'm a little tired of the media mischaracterizing us as something that we're not. We're not bad people. We're educated people. We're knowledgeable people. We're conservative people. We go out and study the Constitution. We teach the Constitution, both the U.S. Constitution and the state Constitution. We study the Maryland Open Meetings Act. We're knowledgeable. We're educated. Treat us that way, please. We deserve to be heard. You guys, as someone else said tonight, you're elected. You work for us. We depend upon you to represent us. We depend on you to represent us to the state board. We depend on you to represent us to the ADOR. How can 20 legislators, 10 senators, and 10 representatives in a committee make a decision to affect the entire state of Maryland? Absurd, ridiculous. With regard to social distancing, I'm not going to convince you of anything that you don't want to be convinced of. But a picture tells 1,000 words. I would love for you guys to put this into your minutes tonight. Okay? If you guys can't hear me over the microphone, this is a photograph from one of the high schools. Bumper to bumper, shoulder to shoulder, kids between class changes. Okay? There's no social distancing here. These kids are side by side, and they're fine. Let them live their lives. Please. That's all.
Kristen Hazel, mandates.
Thanks for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Kristen Hayes, and I have 2 young children going through the Wycombe program in our Wycombe County schools. There are a lot of problems currently in our schools, but since we only have 2 minutes to speak tonight, I decided to tell them about mask mandates. I can give you tons of reports, studies, and opinions on the mask mandates, and I'm sure others will get that information recently. But what I'm here to remind you of today is your role as a board member of this county. I have read the entire school board governance policy, and nowhere does it state to make medical decisions for children in this county. What it does say on the code of ethics is remember always that my first and greatest concern must be educational welfare of students attending public schools. This mask requirement is absolutely impacting the educational welfare of students. My son is autistic and has regressed immensely since the pandemic. He was reevaluated by his speech and language therapist in August from his prior test in 2018. He has fallen in a number of categories, including social communication, formally he's fallen in a number of categories, including social communication, formulated sentences, and expressive language, all of which is a direct result of not being in physical school with his peers. I'm happy he's back in the school building working on social aspects of his development, of which is why many parents choose to send their kids to school versus online learning. The masks are making his ability to succeed in school almost impossible. He struggles with reading, facial expressions, and developing social relationships already. So how do you think he's doing since he can't see anyone's face? I know your intention is to keep the children from spreading the virus, but a road to hell is paved with good intentions. You have the water fountain in school. They have mask breaks and rewards for getting the work done. The buses are so overcrowded, the kids are sitting on the floors to get to school. And I have seen children trading masks at the pickup line like they're trading friendship bracelets. No, none of those things is stopping the spread of COVID. I have read your code of conduct which states the board will consider the needs of the entire community and vote for what seems best for student achievement, student well-being, and student morale. I think it's pretty obvious after tonight that the community by and large is not okay with the way things are being handled or the decisions being made. As far as student morale, covering your face does not lift one's spirit.
30 seconds.
It's time for kids to get back to school without having to cover their face. Let them enjoy all they've been missing in March 2020 and stop scaring them and thinking everyone's sick. You've got kids walking home from school every day with
religious, and medical accommodations.
Hello there. I am also a teacher at one of our schools. I have been an educator for 7 years. Last year, I was awarded a new Teacher Spotlight Award from this county. I take my job seriously. I love what I do. I love my students. Unfortunately, our superintendent's recent mandate has made me question how long I will stay here. 2 days before the superintendent released her mandate, my principal stated, and I quote, "The wearing of masks is an individual's choice and should not cross the line to a discipline issue," end quote. I am baffled that somehow this choice was snatched out of my and my scholars' hands. At what point did our superintendent decide it was her right to remove our own? Somehow we are left thinking our rights are now being labeled as privileges granted to us by leaders that we may or may not have been elected. I asked both my principal and every member of this board immediately when the mandate was issued, what disciplinary actions will be followed for staff and or students who do not comply with this mandate? I have yet to be given a clear answer. Fate tells us that every single child is entitled to a free and appropriate education. How is it appropriate to have students learning how to read, not be able to see their teachers and their peers' mouths form letters? How is it appropriate? How is it appropriate to have children sneeze in a mask and wear it for hours afterwards? How is it appropriate so I have to ask them over and over to repeat themselves only for their own anxiety to make them stop asking me. I can't tell you how many times that happened last year and how many times it's already happening now. I am at a crossroads as a teacher because I often tell my students the importance of being true to their values and standing up for what they believe in. What would I be if I remained silent? What real-world lesson am I teaching my students if I don't model for them how to stand up for what they believe? I have decided to be the model for my scholars to the fullest extent. Upon the mandate, I immediately asked for how to request a religious exemption to wearing a mask. I did not receive a response from anyone of authority, so I took it upon myself to email my principal a formal religious exemption request backed by scripture from the Word of God and explanations of my religious convictions. I was told I could wear a mask that would not conceal any parts of my face as my accommodation. However, I have been called into meetings with my administration about my clear mask deeply since then. I have a student who has worn a clear face shield as her mask, granted by an accommodation due to her disability. Yet my religious accommodation is not being given the same authority. I know other staff members at other schools that have worn the same mask that I'm wearing now, but not a single person told me I can't wear today. But yet at my school, I am being hounded almost every day. As a teacher, I have been taught heavily about the importance of equity. The masking for all is not an equitable solution, and my case is a perfect example. Not all of us can wear the exact same face mask as a cloth or a medical mask, because we all are unique people with unique religious convictions and medical circumstances. I am imploring you, board and superintendent, to choose equity and support all of your teachers, students, and staff, even those with different convictions and circumstances as your own. Thank you.
Keith Newton, mandates. Keith Newton.
I already went. He can go get it if you want.
Okay, you win when I call Don Sparky. I was going to say that Don Sparky.
I don't think they're the first time. Probably because we had masks on, we couldn't hear. Case closed.
Good evening, thank you for the opportunity to speak. We as parents have the right to make many important choices for our children. they've been born with the wrong genitalia, we can find a doctor that will help us to begin transitioning them to the sex that they should have been born. We give much thought, love, and research in our choices and responsibilities. Research is now showing that there is no statistical differences in masked and unmasked students through a controlled study by the CDC that of 90,000 students throughout Georgia. I recall the first interview I watched with Dr. Fauci early in 2020 before he joined the task force, stating that the general public didn't need to wear any masks, but the medical personnel should wear the N95 mask because only the N95 protects against the virus. I've learned that the N95s are made of specific hard materials and that they seal a surface area that is covered. Also, they're apparently very uncomfortable, and some doctors really don't wear that. A cloth mask can't even filter out odors, which you would agree if you've been next to someone with flatulence. But the virus is so much smaller than odors. On the other hand, cloth masks reduce your intake of oxygen and traps the necessary expulsion of carbon dioxide, CO2. The body becomes more acidic, and the natural immune system becomes suppressed. It can actually cause the wearer's health to deteriorate. I wouldn't send my grandchildren outside wrapped only in chicken wire to protect them from mosquitoes, yet I wouldn't stop you if that's what your choice was. In closing, since there isn't any real evidence of benefit to wearing a mask, but definite detriments, I'm confident that you will agree the mask should be optional.
Edward D., financial literacy.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm going to read into the record a brief statement. It reads as follows. Renewed requests for a work session appointment, specially prepared for the Wycomico County Board of Education, September 20th, 2021, by co-chairs Anthony Dixon, Lee, Financial Literacy Subcommittee, Global Operations Task Force for Wycomico County, Maryland. Good evening. My name is Edward S. Lee. I live in Snow Hill, Maryland. I am a real estate agent with ERA Associates with 13 years experience. I'm the founder of Teach Them to Fish LLC, Financial Literacy Home Ownership Project. Today, I am here in the capacity of co-chairperson of the Wycomico County Global Operations Subcommittee on Financial Literacy. The Wycomico County Global Operations Task Force wants to make the Board of Education aware of the alarming numbers of high school students that are graduating with insufficient financial literacy skills. The task force is recommending that all students graduating from Wycomico County high schools be required to take financial literacy as a requirement for graduation. Poor money skills have made many past high school graduates buried in debt and unable to navigate ordinary financial systems. They are being denied home ownership, not because of redlining, but because of poor credit scores and credit worthiness. The choices that today's students will have to make tomorrow as adults are grounded in how they are prepared and educated regarding management and finances as it relates to their personal development today. The committee is asking the Board of Education for an appointment to meet with its members in a work session for a full discussion of the committee's stated recommendations. And I shared that report with you at my last meeting.
I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you. BOE process.
It's a beautiful night on Belmont, huh? What do you guys think? All right, so at the Board of Education meeting last August, Donna Hanlon brought a proposed masking policy to the attention of the board. Although many of you expressed concern with masking children during the school day and voiced parent choice with masking, no formal vote was taken on the proposed policy. And might I add, there's no call for it, not really was the issue, right, Gene? You didn't call. Because clearly people wanted to. Despite the lack of board approval, the mask mandate went into effect, and quickly our kids were forced to wear masks to receive publicly funded education in Wicomico County. The board's failure to call a vote on the masking policy is a clear dereliction of duty as elected representatives. The expectation of this community is that when the superintendent brings a proposed policy to a board meeting, that the board carry out a formal vote. Not only does it hold the policy official, but it also holds all members accountable for the vote. And thank you, Mr. Palmer, for calling roll call. You did it. Second, many people within our school community clearly feel disconnected, disengaged, and even shut out from our district. If there has been a silver lining for the COVID pandemic, it is that parents have recognized their desire to be involved in advocating for our children. On their end, or your end, I encourage the board to actively engage with the school community, stop by classrooms, invite parents to work sessions. Open communication, engagement, and transparency will, hopefully, heal the wound caused by distrust. It is the elected board members' responsibility to engage their community members in order to receive feedback about the decisions that are made at the local and county level. Currently, the school holds regular workshops with the teacher representative concerning school policy and procedure. I would like to see regular parent workshops that include parent stakeholders in an effort to keep us abreast of the current issues at the school. Keeping a line of communication open within our community is a vital part of a healthy school system. An easy fix to the current distrust and miscommunication issues that we're seeing tonight between and among parents, teachers, and administration is to move all board meetings to the evening and find a meeting location like this that promotes public comment in an open meeting format. This small action will promote a level of transparency that is much needed within the school community. Daytime meetings are very difficult for working parents, teachers, and students to attend. Daytime meetings also limit potential upcoming WCBOE school board candidates to only those who have the means to attend meetings during the day. Please consider my proposal. If not able to do it this year, please consider adding it, adjusting the calendar for next year to only evening meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Eden Hayes School Environment.
evening. I think to make one simple question. Why do you, the board members, want to be a decision maker for Wicomico County Public School students? Is it because you think education is worth advocating for? Is it because you want to be a leader within your community and your district? Is it because you find such a position to be personally and professionally fulfilling? Whatever your reason, I'll give you a moment of pause to discover and or rediscover your truth as to why you have found yourself in the seat in which you sit tonight. COVID-19 has served to me a moment in time that I truly reflected on my own position as a mother, as a teacher, as a parent advocate, and as a member of my community. I realized that I want my decisions, whatever they may be, to in the end, create a culture of positive influence for my children. Because they are watching. They're up there and they're watching. They are mimicking what I want. They are children being shaped into young adults and our next generation of citizens who I hope will enrich the world with their gifts. Unfortunately, the culture of positivity in which I want to envelope my children is overshadowed by a narrative of fear that stems not only from COVID-19, but by the school system in which they are sent students. In a world that is already uncertain for my young children, inconstancy and instability abound. We are being told to sign laptop agreements because what if schools shut down? We're being told that our children will be indefinitely masked until some ambiguous transmission rate decreases, yet another ambiguous rate. My children are told time and time again to wear their masks, wear them properly, wash their hands, and to not stand too close to their friends, because they might get their friends sick. They are playing games at recess, true story, in which someone coughs, sniffs, or yawns, and they are to quickly jump away, pointing at the perpetrator and yelling, "COVID!" True. You, members of the board, and Dr. Hanlon, are in control of the world my children enter 5 days a week throughout the school year. You are the decision makers. In-person education is not a privilege, it is their right. When all of your decisions seemingly point toward an imminent shutdown and inevitable virtual education, your decisions have and will devalue education and the necessity of a safe, inclusive, in-person academic community for my children and WCPS students. We as parents are also devalued in our parent choice. Is this narrative fear what is best for children? Frankly, is this what's best for parents? Kids and parents alike are terrified that schools will shut down. They're being left with tears, frustration, and grieving for a world in which school was simply a daily and yearly routine. Please, I am asking you, please give us that world back, even if it is a little at a time. We need to learn to live with COVID as part of our world, and not afraid of and shy away from it. It's time. Thank you.
Stand for the word mask.
I want to thank everyone for letting us speak today, hearing us. Parents are pretty frustrated. Grandparents. All of us here today are advocating on part of our children, and I hope that you're hearing us. But I do want to point out, I don't know if any of you all have ever looked at a box. This came from Home Depot. This is what you're wearing across your face now, most of you. It's not intended on the box. Not intended for medical use. It will not stop. There was a coalition of parents in Florida that sent 6 face masks to the lab to the University of Florida, requesting an analysis of contaminants found in the mask after they had been worn. Which resulting report found that 5 masks were contaminated with bacteria, parasites, fungi, including 3 with dangerous pathogenic pneumonia-causing bacteria. The analysis detected the following 11 dangerous pathogens on these masks, which being pneumonia, tuberculosis, meningitis, pneumonia, which is bloodstream infections, including meningitis, food poisoning,
diphtheria, Legionnaire's disease, staphylococcus, sorry, I can't say this properly, staph infection, and meningitis sepsis. Half those masks contaminated one or more of the strains of the pneumonia-causing bacteria. And with most of the people being admitted to the hospital these days, it is from COVID pneumonia. I'm not saying that it did come from the mask, but if you can ascertain what I'm trying to say here from the test that was sent to the University of Florida. I don't think our kids should be sitting in the mask 78 hours a day, being touching, they don't properly know how to take it off their face. If you're in the medical profession, you have to remove those masks every hour or 2 hours and replace it with a completely fresh mask. Kids are reusing these day in and day out. Do you think if they're using a cloth mask, they're getting washed every night when they go home? Probably not. They're getting shoved in their pocket, their book bag, probably their lunchbox. Then they get to go to the cafeteria and sit down and eat without a mask on. And I'm going to bring this up real quick for my daughter. She just got into 8th grade. It's the first year she's been in public schools. She's actually scared. She'll be 14 next month to take her mask off. My child should not live in fear of wanting to take her mask off at school. Shouldn't do that. And it's not fair. It should be choice.
Ladies and gentlemen, board, thank you for giving me time to speak. Let me introduce myself. My name is George Long. I'm a senior at Parkside. I am a varsity person, captain of the member of the Wycombe County ROTC program. I've come here to receive my part and practice my First Amendment right as an American. And first of all, really stressed about the conditions in school. I'm here to tell you that 99.9% of what they said in the school setting is true. Kids, my friends, me, we've been doing this for almost 2 years now. When this pandemic started, I was just turned 15. Right now, I'm 17, I'm 19, ready to graduate. You go to the career, that's the story. And I lost valuable time as an adolescent, sitting behind a computer, behind a mouse, when I should have been out in school, spending, learning valuable material with my friends before I never see them most of the day. This is kind of bad. This whole mask thing is taking extreme toll, and not just my mental health and physical health, really, but many of my friends that I know, just as it happened the rest of the team, I've seen over 20 kids during this pandemic use the physical capacity to become a wrestling team because of the pandemic and lockdowns, and many kids are extremely discouraged to join these set sports because of mask problems. And as I can attest to, as long and expressing this, winter sport is in the preseason, and I'm in the weight room after school, and I'm still required to wear masks, even though it's about 5 of us in the weight room when nobody else around, and still required to wear masks.
30 seconds.
Thanks, sir. About the whole cafeteria thing, I have pictures of it. There's about 200 to 300 children, kids, packed into a small cafeteria and lined up without masks on. And I don't see the difference with just walking around school. Thank you for your time.
Your decisions are affecting those kids by far worse than any virus. Right there, proof.
And yours?
Good evening. I bring you good news from Wicomico retired educational personnel. Our state organization, Maryland Retired School Personnel Association, began a program 2 years ago to award $300 mini grants to teachers for need-based projects. And I'm happy to report that in our area, we had 2 Wicomico County teachers receive this award. 2 years ago, it was Lisa McKinnon, her teacher. Her project was Holiday Park Side. The purpose of it was to provide transportation for those students who had missed the bus. They ended up using it, however, for the Maryland Food Bank holiday baskets for students. Last year, the Wycombe teacher was Stephanie Rush, who is a 4th grade music teacher at Delmar Elementary, and her project was for an all-county elementary choir. And this year, I'm happy to say, we're going to do it winter time, so it's ended up and we have 3 in a row. I also want to say how WRP is proud that Dustin Thomas is representing Wicomico County, and I too was informed today of him being a finalist. So we are very proud of Dustin, and he does us proud. So, thank you.
Thank you. Jimmy Harris, mandates.
He's not here, he left.
Thank you. Joan Smith, education. Joan here.
Good evening, I'm Carol Smith, President of the Wicomico County Education Association. Many thanks to you, Dr. Hammer, and to those of you on this Board of Education, supportive of masking. It seems like it wasn't too many days ago when each of you chose to support Dr. Hammer in masking. Well, in advance of the administrative, executive, and legislative review, the masking mandate. This essential layer, one of several mitigation efforts in our schools, has helped to keep schools open during this pandemic. Data from other states without universal masking policies tell an alarming tale of increased infections and hospitalizations among students.
Excuse me, please. Can we not do that, please? And let her finish?
Data from those states, continuing, tell an alarming tale of increased infections and hospitalizations among students, including those too young to receive a vaccine. We want to avoid these negative outcomes for our children and our families. Masking, along with distancing, when it is possible. We know we have over travel. schools. We know that we need to build more schools for our growing areas. Cleaning and disinfecting, proper ventilation, and other health and safety measures give us the best possible chance to protect the health and safety of our students, our educators, our community. Increased COVID testing and contact tracing for both students and employees must continue. The process of identifying through testing, then contact tracing, and providing notifications must be done expeditiously. We know that layered approaches best help to mitigate the spread. There is still much to do, and many critical components to hopefully ridding us of this virus and the other illnesses that cause absence and delay students' instruction.
30 seconds.
We want our children to have an education that encourages them to be bigger and into who we are, and to deeply dig into where we came from and what we're capable of being. We must empower our students with tools, with guidance to facilitate that journey. Our educators and support staff work hard every day in support of social, emotional, and academic needs of students.
Thank you. Sandra Smith, General.
Thank you. Just feel like I'm from there. I want to thank the board for all that they do and everything. I know it's not an easy job, it's a difficult job. But I just also want to remind the board that it's we the people here in Wycombe County that pay the salaries, not the state, not the federal government, but the people of Wicomico County here. So you should be answering with them, I think. And I hope you all will be. I hope you will listen to what they're saying. And there's a lot of common sense out here that needs to be listened to. There's a lot of concern, of course, what's happening in local public schools. I'm not going to speak about the mask right now because I think enough has been said about that already. That's good. But I am going to speak about some of the things that are being taught in many public schools, and I hope you will not bring those into Wycombe County. Things like gender identification, some of the sexual education that parents should be teaching their children about the public school system. Would we recognize adultery or fornication as normal, or to be encouraged in our schools? What about child molestation, human trafficking? And yet these things like gender identification and personal pronouns about whether to call a child he or she, I think God made it quite clear what you are when you're born. So, I don't want to see this country go downhill and being forced by people who are a minority group, like the LGBTQ groups and others, who are trying to ram down the throats of the United States citizens what their belief is. Their belief is just as wrong as adultery and fornication. They're all sexual sins, every one of them. This is the worst administration we've had in recent history. And our family followers would be shocked and angry and very disappointed that this generation is headed for what looks like socialism or communism. In 1955, Khrushchev pounded Children should not learn to disrespect their elders. Thank you.
Thank you. No topic. Bobby West. Anya Peterson, parents Joyce.
Good evening. My name is Anya Peterson, and I am the mother of 5 children from the ages of 15 to 4 years old. And tonight I would like to express my extreme frustration in your decision to require masks and your failure to acknowledge and protect the rights of parents in regards to their children's health care decisions. And yes, I consider wearing a mask a health care decision. Recently, in an effort to be an informed parent, I had a conversation with my children's pediatrician. In that conversation, I said, "What is your opinion on masks?" He said, "Unless you put an N95 on every child and make them change it if they touch it, they are useless." He said, he sat back and he said to me, "I wish we could have a candid conversation on what is happening to our young people." He said, "The rate of mental illness in our children is tripled." He said, "Every child I talk to, when I ask them, how are you doing in school? They say, terrible." He said, "Children are falling behind. They are not doing well." He said, "What we have done to these children is a crime." I support your right to put your child in a mask. I expect the same respect for me and my decision for my children. I am not uninformed. I read, I study, I talk to professionals. I have medical professionals in my family that I speak to. I have some that think masks are appropriate, some who do not. But as I study the risks, both mentally, emotionally, and physically for my children, I expect that the decision I make be respected on all levels of the government. Parents have rights with their children.
30 seconds.
You guys, if you fail to listen and accept that, then when it comes time to vote, we will not vote for you. To make sure that those who are making the decisions in regard to my children do listen and respect my parental authority.
Okay, thank you. That concludes public comment. I'm sure my colleagues may have something to say about this under board member reports, but we thank everyone who attended. Thank you for your input. We'll move to 7.1 board member reports. We'll start with Mr. Palmer, to my far right. Oh, you all go ahead.
Sure, you want to do that, Dean?
Give it to him.
Before I start, I'd just like to say that there's 6 other members on the board besides me, and there's a lot of administration, and that I do value their input to all the problems we have. And even though they don't think I listen to them, I do listen to them, and I take everything into account what they say.
but I do make my own decisions. A lot of times it's not popular with them, but I will make it anyway. So I just want you to know that. Normally when a board member gives their board report, it's about a program or event that they attended since the last meeting. Well, the last meeting was a little bit short, so I just want to go back to something else that happened that brings me to where I'm at today. And Dean, I'm going to be quick with this. The only major event that I went to recently has been the county fair. That county fair, I split my 3 days in time between the Board of Education tent and my tent for my affiliation, my party affiliation. And while I was sitting on the shady side of the street, I was thinking, and something dawned on me. I said, wait a minute, John. I said, look at all these moms and dads and kids walking by me. I said, what an opportunity. So I took a piece of paper, and if anybody was out there, you might recognize this. Those are the papers that I used. And I did an informal survey. I just walked out there and talked to parents with kids. I had no idea who they were, but I talked to them anyway. And I asked them their opinion about the mask situation. And I asked them, in their opinion, would they vote yes, no? And I had one other option in there. I had optional. And I had always hoped that somewhere all of these people in legislative land would give the optional system, optional part, some consideration, because there is no doubt in my mind that if you listen to the parents and you listen to the administration, you can come together because there's a lot in common.
Yes.
But there are some things, and it's political, that's holding us apart.
Yes.
So I would hope that everybody could get together and somehow we can go back, I don't know how, but I would like to see people sit down and discuss the optional choice. Now, while I was sitting there, I talked with 103 Wicomico parents. I don't remember all the names. Some of them gave their names and cards and packets and wrote their names down on paper and gave it to me. They wanted me to call them when the next board meeting was. So I called a lot of them. But when I tallied up the votes at the end of the 3 days out at the fair, I found something that was kind of alarming, because I had been told that the other surveys that were being conducted were moving along the 50-50 choice. Of the 103 people that I personally talked to, it was divided this way. There were 17 yes, 53 no's, and 47 options. So I said, wait a minute, something seems to be wrong here. I could finally hear one thing from the media and all these other people, and then here I am out with the people, and this is what I get. So I said, something's wrong. So I went back to the school system, back to school board. And for 3 weeks I tried to get a special meeting held so that we could get together with all of us and you all, the parents, and see if we could come to some kind of a decision on what's really going on. Well, that didn't go over too good, so I thought, now what am I going to do? So I said, John, wait a minute. That's when I thought about you. You all out in the audience and all the people that I met out at the fair, you're the people that have the power. It's up to you to make things move along. And you have to do that because there's a lot at stake. And if you don't believe that, look at you. You're here tonight. A month ago, this wasn't possible. But because of your actions, we're here tonight. And those listeners can do it. 20 legislatures passed their mandate. And they said that this exercise tonight, it was moot. It's already been passed. There's nothing you can do about it. As I said, I'm not the one who agrees with everybody all the time. But what it does, it gives you an idea of what's happening and what you can do, what's coming down the line, because I'm telling you, things are coming down the line. We might not like them, but they are coming down the line. And there's some things that you might want to look into. You might want to look into the CRT, what's going to be being taught and is being taught in the schools. You might want to be looking into jabs for your children. I think somebody mentioned that they think there's going to be mandates coming down the line. Think about it. What are you going to do? Are you going to let them jab your kid just because one legislator said it's okay? You can decide. Then there was another area that I looked into, and I had asked Dr. Hammond about this, and I asked her about social emotional training. And you know, I followed that for a while, and I see reports on it, and I've seen some things that were pretty good about it. But when I really started checking into it, there were things in there that I didn't like. And there are things in there that I know you, as parents, wouldn't like. And I'm hoping that you're going to get involved. I mean, really involved. And start putting the power that you have forward to start changing something in this system. And you have to remember, our forefathers gave we the people the power to change our futures. Amen. And that's you all out there. And I hope you take that advantage.
Good evening, everyone. And the first thing, I want to thank all of you here. And I listened, as I'm sure everyone did. I want to also thank you for coming out and handling everything in a professional and adult way. I've said it before, our children always watch us and they learn from us. And it's very important. And this group tonight did an outstanding job. I made several notes throughout the meeting and different ones and things, and you probably saw my head nodding up and down because I heard what you were saying, and I believe in that. And I just want to thank you for that. And as we move forward, these things that I've heard tonight, I'm going to digest, and I make my own decisions too. But I also think and believe in parent input. I always stress, some of you know this has been my career working with children. This is 42 years. And when I was principal and we had a meeting, I always encouraged the parents' input. And I always said parents had 51% of the input. And I still do that. Move on, because I would like to recognize some of the things. Number two, I'm very excited that our students are back in school 5 days a week. They need this. They need this. I also want to thank our SGA representatives, a young man with a pledge. They came out tonight, and I always find it extremely informative for our high schools, our SGAs, to share different things that are going on in our schools with all of us in our community. I also want to go ahead and I want to congratulate all the teachers that were finalists of the Teacher of the Year in this county. And I also think we should definitely support should definitely put Wicomico County on the map down here on the Eastern Shore, and we need to congratulate them on that. In closing tonight, I have quotes too, and I have one, and I'm going to read it. It's from one of my favorite first ladies. Never lose sight of the fact that the most important yardsticks of your success will be how you treat other people, your family, friends, co-workers, and even strangers you meet along the way. By Barbara Bush. Thank you.
First of all, I want to give congratulations. Turn it on. I'm on. First of all, I want to give congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Joey Coco on the birth of their new baby boy.
Your speaker's off.
My light is on. It is on. Another mic. My light is on. Okay. Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Joey Coco on the birth of their new baby boy. Mr. Coco, Joey, is band director at Mardella High School, and his wife, Courtney, is the string teacher in Wicomico County Public Schools. I've been very, very busy, as you all know. That's one thing I like to do is get out and talk to people. I attended the Wicomico County Fair and spent a few hours in the WCPS booth. I want to thank Mr. Paul Butler. He did an outstanding job in organizing this project because it was an excellent public relations. I attended both the new teacher breakfast and the breakfast for the administration. I was outside Pinehurst and Prince Street Elementary Schools, greeting students and parents for their open house, and was at Pinehurst greeting parents and students on the first day of school. What I talked to parents and the children about was their aspirations, what they wanted to accomplish this school year now that they were back in school. This is what I discussed with my church, Bethesda, is faith-based with Wicomico Middle, and on Sunday, September the 5th, we welcomed Wicomico Middle new principal, Dr. Charles LeBlanc, to worship with us and to say a few remarks. And the following Wednesday, I joined others to welcome Y Middle students back to school. I attended the Recreation and Parks 75th anniversary, and I want to give credit to Mr. Alan Brown, who is chairman of the Rec Commission. Alan, that is one of the nicest events I have ever attended in Wicomico County. It was well planned, well executed. There were about 200 people there, and I just heard nothing but fine remarks about it, and you are to be congratulated for that.
Thank you.
And I've had a wonderful month, and there are other things I have done that aren't on here, but I'm just wishing everybody a successful school year. Been there, done that for 31 years, and so now I'm watching other people have it.
Thank you. Mr. Brown?
First, let me say that we're living in very difficult and challenging times. I've listened to each one of you in your comments this evening, and we'll take them to heart. As I've always done each year at the start of school, I ride by different schools, and I don't go in, I just park in the parking lot or along the street, and I watch the students and the teachers as they enter the building. I was real pleased to see them enter the building this year, being fully back in school. Even though the kids had masks on, you could see the excitement in the kids as some of them met one another, and it appeared that they had not seen some of their friends for some time. And they all were excited and happy to be back in school. Even the teachers walk with kind of a balance that you like to see when students are going to school and the teachers are going there. I attended the new teachers meeting this year at the breakfast, and there were about 121 new teachers. And the thing I loved about it was the diversity that I saw there. There were seasoned teachers that had been working other places but now have chosen to come to Wicomico County to teach. And also there were some brand new teachers. And they had excitement in their voice, in their action, and their mannerisms. And I hope that each one of them, if they're listening this evening, have an enjoyable, rewarding year. We have many problems to solve, and we have to work together in order to do that. The second thing that I want to say is that I'm very pleased with the support that we get from the business community. The Hertford Company has provided our Teacher of the Year with a new vehicle to use for an entire year. That's amazing. You know, when you have that kind of support from the community, it's really nice. And also the Greater Salisbury Committee provided packages for each one of the new teachers with little gifts in them for them for the year, for them coming to school here. And finally, I want to say that even though I've been out of education for some time now, I do talk to parents, I talk to students as I see them in the mall and other places, and they're all very concerned about what the future is going to bring. But we have to all work together to make sure that we can provide the best opportunity, the best environment for those students for each year that they come to school, each day that they come to school, to give them the best possible education and education opportunities that we can. So I'm hoping that we can continue to work together in venues like this, listen to one another, and make some decisions based upon what we think is the best interest for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Well, I'll be completely honest with you all out there tonight. I came with the intention of not giving a board report. And let me tell you why. I'm tired of the things that I state and activities that I'm involved in being construed in the media and being twisted and just mangled all over social media and on different advocating groups for masks and no masks. So as I was sitting here, of course, I take lots of notes. I'm sure that you noticed I didn't even put my pen down. I wrote the entire time, and that's what I do. I do try to respond to as many emails as I possibly can. Some of them I do in an extremely timely manner, and sometimes they slip my mind. Because if some of you don't know, I do have 2 children that attend school in this county. I have one child who has had a sinus infection since school started from wearing a mask, at which I had to have her COVID tested. I did not sign the consent form to have her tested in school. Do you know why? That's my right. My daughter is not vaccinated. That is my right. So I understand where you're coming from. Please remember, before I was placed in that position, I was the parent on the other side of the table bringing mass amounts of people to come support our public school system. I did that, so I understand. I do want to put a huge shout out to you all tonight for maintaining your composure, following the guideline currently to wear the mask. I don't like this any more than you do. I have stated it numerous times. I wear it out of respect for those individuals who need it to be worn around them for their reason. And I agree. Other people should respect the fact that I want to remove it as I am vaccinated. So, also, I know that we're focusing a lot on the mask being optional, and I know that we hear you. I promise that we do. But some things I do want to let you know. We're in school 5 days a week, which is amazing. That is a huge progress from last year, even though we don't see as many steps in the right direction in the past 18 months as we have wanted to. and I understand that. We are done suffering through virtual. I don't know about you, but virtual at my home, and the board members know, was an absolute struggle. There were days I would call, I would be crying, asking for help and support on what to do to benefit my children, because that's what parents do. We put our children's needs before others. Something I would like for you parents to focus on, if you haven't done so, is asking your students how they're doing. How is their mental health? Are they focusing on social interactions while they are in school? I understand that some students don't want to play sports. They don't want to do these things. Find them a club so that they have the social interaction, they're keeping their mind busy, and if you see any signs where they need any type of mental health assistance, please reach out. It's been a trying time for the past 18 months, and our students are suffering, and I see it. I see it with mine, I see it with friends, I see it with others, and I see it as we're going around. However, these students are excited to be back in the building 5 days, masks or not. So with that being said, this is what I want to end with. And I know Mr. Jean normally is our quote man, but Mr. Murray jumped on one tonight, and I have one as well. Just because my path is different than yours doesn't mean that I am lost or wrong. If you want me to respect you, then I expect you to respect me. Thank you.
So, as you've heard from my colleagues, we all attended many events recently, and I'm not going to go through the same ones that they attended. I was also there. What I'd like to say is that 7 of us on this school board don't always agree. We always come to a solution. Somehow it's very collaborative, even though we don't always agree, as I said, and all of you don't always agree with us. But what I'd like for everyone to leave here tonight with is 2 things. We must all agree that public input, public dialogue with us is very important. We've heard from you tonight. We hear you, and we're going to hear from you more in the future. And 2, every one of us are here to do our very best to advocate for the 15,000 public school students in this town. We want to keep them safe. We want to educate them to the best of our abilities. We may have different ways that we need to get there, but we all need to keep the dialogue open and keep that in mind, that we need to do the very best for those 15,000 students in our system. Thank you all for attending tonight. Thank you for your input. We'll look forward to hearing from you more in the future. We are adjourned, and please travel safely.